I love, people making a Chemex. You can make great coffee, and all
With a
power-
Chemex? No, that's not possible.
No,
I was waiting to see that reaction, Tim.
Chemex.
oh yeah,
I am
Only if you put a
absolutely.
V60 inside, then you can make a good
no,
Chemex.
surprising. Yeah,
You
yeah.
better
No,
believe that's going to be the clip that comes out.
Chemex can do it's surprising. I have yet to completely understand why, but it can do a great job for it. But again,
Tim's shaking his head for anyone who's just listening.
well,
I need to take the flowers out of all my Chemexes and try it again,
you just don't have the technique down yet.
That's why we need the barista
We need to
competition.
show you.
And
teach
we're
us.
back at where we started the whole conversation. At Maple Forward, we work with coffee businesses around the world, from startups to established brands, helping to make sure they build, grow, and thrive. Whether you're a first-time business owner looking to understand the blueprint of what's really involved in building a successful coffee company, or you're an established business needing a strategic plan, supply chain solution, or go-to-market strategy, we have a vast global network and we can help. We don't work on commission. We work on transparent fees, and our consulting comes with a 100% money back guarantee. We're your partner conspiring to your success, and your success is our success. Learn more or start your journey with us by connecting via the contact page on our website or emailing us at support@mapitforward.org. You can see all the details in the show notes. Welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro by Map It Forward, friends. I'm your host, Lee Safar, and this is really, truly, unfortunately, the final episode of what has been a delightful series with these two gentlemen, Howell and Tim Wendelboe. It's truly a pleasure to have this conversation with you. I hope we get to do it more often. We're talking about understanding the impact of climate on the coffee value chain. And in this final episode of this series, we want to understand how the climate crisis is going to impact the industry at the roastery and the cafe level. And I'm not sure, guys, that we have actually seen any of those impacts really start to affect the roastery and cafe level. Go ahead, Tim. He's shaking his head. Go ahead.
No, I agree. I think for the first, if you want to serve high quality coffee, you will probably see the prices going up quite significantly in the coming years. Because what we talked about in previous episodes, there's no manual labor around the farm, so you have to attract workers and pay them more. The climate is really affecting the coffee quality, so if you want high quality, you have to sort more. That when you sort more, you have more waste. That wasted coffee has a much lower price than the quality coffee, so you have to compensate for that. You have to invest in equipment to make sure the quality is taken care of during processing, sorting, storing, drying. To dry the coffee, you need either much more space to dry coffee when you have more rain, or you need to mechanize drying. So
Which is
there's an
expensive.
investment there. Yeah. We see shipping costs going up, petrol prices are going up. We see there's war around, so shipping is disrupted, it takes longer time. All sorts of things that makes the high quality coffee prices go up. And just not to mention finance, because let's be honest, most small roasters rely on importers to buy the coffee for them and finance it through loans. And when the interest rate goes up, the prices go up. And, you have labor cost also for the importers. They have employees that wants the higher salary every year because of inflation. So, prices will have to go up for the high quality coffees. And then you have demand. You have China being more and more interested in high quality coffee. You have, I just heard that Pakistan has a growing coffee community. There's a lot of countries that are traditionally...
Shout out to Nomad Coffee Studios, because he's actually one of my clients is leading the charge in that. Shout out to Faisal Khan.
And those are traditionally tea drinking countries, with a lot of people. So if they get excited about high quality coffee, even if a fraction gets excited about high quality coffee, there's not enough high quality coffee around because it's harder to grow.
There's not enough coffee at all around, no matter what the quality. 4 years.
So I think you'll see a bigger divide between like coffee that doesn't have good quality will probably be a little bit more expensive, and then the good quality coffee will be rare and also much more expensive, and the coffee in the middle there will be less and less. We've been fortunate to live in an era where you could just go to any origin and just randomly come across an 86-point coffee, and many of them. And that doesn't happen that often anymore because of climate change and labor costs.
And the changes that are required in agriculture means that there's going to be a lot less production per hectare than there was. I mean, now they're doing 3,000, 6,000. What is it, bags per hectare or whatever, and that's going to come down dramatically because now you need more shade. You need all the things that modern industry thought it could do away with for efficiency's sake.
I personally believe you can keep yields pretty high, but maybe not as extreme as it has been, but you can still keep the yields pretty high if you have healthy coffee trees. So, the yields will probably go down a little bit. For sure.
Well,
I want to ask you guys about access.
Not as
Say
high
again, George?
Organic is nowhere near as high production as technified. At least
it depends.
My impression.
Yeah, it depends. Like if you do proper biological farming, there is some people who have very good results with that. But if you do like the traditional organic, where you just make some compost, you put it on, and you don't really know what you're doing. If you're doing organic by tradition, I have to say, then your yields are normally quite low. Like you see in Ethiopia, and even if you go on a farm that I buy from in Ethiopia, and if they just cut the weeds more often, they would probably increase the yields.
Yes, but those yields are way lower. I mean, you look at Brazil or whatever, and these trees are knocked right next to each other into hedges forever. I mean, the density of coffee trees is unsustainable.
All right.
Yeah, for sure.
From the monocropping. Right.
Yeah.
I want to ask you guys about access. And as we have more of these climate issues, access is going to become a problem, even though we have this divide that you were speaking about, Tim. When we have Keurig Dr. Pepper purchasing JDE Peets and creating Global Coffee Co., right? I mean, it just sounds frightening, to be honest with you. Just the name of it sounds frightening from the perspective of, them being the overlords of the industry. But when you have these more and more consolidation happening, access becomes quite a problem. And as we have more constrained liquidity in the industry, we are going to see access, in my opinion, emerge as a real interesting and important force throughout, I think, the next at least decade. Do you guys think that access is going to become a problem as we move forward?
You're saying access to
coffee. So because right now, farmers, if we look at what's happening with the price of coffee, it does, as Tim was saying, look more attractive to a lot of farmers to just pick the cherries and send them to the commercial market, and those end up in certified stocks, right? Access to specialty coffee, if you've established
higher prices.
Well, is it just paying higher prices, or is it actually having access to relationships and to people who want to sell you that coffee?
I think for the right price, again, like I'm working with Mamuda now, there may well be other small farms that would be very interested in that. Right.
So
connecting through that flow.
But if Lee's Coffee Company wanted to come in and go to the Mamutos and say, I want to buy this coffee for double what George Howell is buying it for.
Yeah. Well, in the long run, that would be a victory.
Or would they sell it to me? Or would you have more access than me?
No, I have more access. But there are other farms that will copy Mamuto based on what they see Mamuto making,
Okay.
right?
I think what you're asking is maybe demonstrating why it's important to have good relations with the producers you're buying from and knowing them well.
That's right.
I've been working with the same producers for many years, and I'm pretty confident that if you came to offer them to buy coffee for twice the price that I'm paying, that instead of just saying yes to you, they would probably
Have a
call me and
conversation with
ask.
you
Yeah,
first.
that's right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly.
And I'm pretty sure that we could also come to an agreement because I don't buy all the coffee, you know. So, but you know, you're touching on something that will also drive the prices for the coffees that I buy up, because this will happen for
Yeah.
sure. And if for instance Elias in Colombia sees that everyone is selling their coffee for twice the price that I'm paying, you know, that's not good
Yeah.
for the relationship. A relationship for me is something that both parties want to be in. It's not just a one direction, you know. So if it doesn't work out for the farmer, they need to have a conversation with me about that. And the opposite, if it doesn't work for me, we can have a conversation. So I very often compare it to like marriage. Yeah, you are married on paper and in philosophy and everything, but sometimes it just doesn't work out, and then you have to separate. But before you separate, you have a conversation, you work on it, you know, like unless you've done something really stupid, of course. But so I see, like, if you want to survive as a high quality roaster and want to have consistent quality from the same places year after year, you need to start building relationships. Otherwise, it's going to become like in Panama, where it's all about who has the most cash and who were there before you. You know, so and I'm not saying that's in general in Panama, but like maybe the coffees will be sold more often on auctions where, you know, relationship doesn't matter anymore because it's the highest bidder that takes the coffee. So
Yeah,
and that's attractive for the farmers.
but that's a small percentage of that farm's production.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, in the future, you know, we're seeing
Yeah.
less and less of the high-end coffees. Maybe, you know, wine is
Right.
being sold on auctions from the best wine houses. So
Yep. Yeah, no.
Look at
it's-
what's happening to the wine industry, right?
yeah, I think, you know, we can learn a lot from the wine industry because it's so relatable to where the coffee industry is today. And you will have your yellowtails, you will have your Chateau, blah blah blah, whatever, you know.
That's a blah, blah, blah.
I'm not so into the traditional wines, so I don't really know the names. But what's Romane Conti or whatever,
It's
No
another
idea.
pay absurd prices for.
It's another piece is making it easier for people to make really great coffee at home. Right. There's a lot of cheap coffee makers out there. Most people, you know, couples are both working. They don't have the time necessarily to stand there making a V60 every day. They've got other things on their mind, you know, and they need something that's quite automatic and yet that will produce something really good. They need to understand their grinder as well. These are real challenges for the coffee industry. The Kenya coffee requires a coarser grind than a central. Otherwise, either your central is going to be weak as hell, or the other coffee is going to be stronger than anything too strong. So these are really sophisticated things that we're asking of our customers. Whereas a bottle of wine, you just pop it open, pour, no problem, right?
Yeah, for sure. But I'm experiencing that the people are into brewing and are excited about grinders, and I'm maybe a little bit too much actually. So they're spending all of their money on
Boys.
it. I mean, a good grinder matters, but what matters the most is what you put in the grinder, you know, the coffee beans. So a good example is, for instance, when we produce films for YouTube about the farms we buy from that are, you know, in my opinion, beautifully shot and very informative.
They're
and
excellent, Tim. They are, and
Yeah, but
everybody, we will include links in the show notes. Everybody should go and see these videos. They're fantastic. Well done, Tim.
Thanks. But, you know, in our experience, we might have 1,500 views. But if I have a video about how to brew, or how to pour water on coffee. You know, it's like 1 million views. Not 1 million. I'm not James,
But a lot.
but you know, yeah. So, but I think that's a good thing because it means that people are into brewing coffee, and if you're into brewing coffee, you will end up at higher quality coffee because the more you drink it, the less you can stand like really bad coffee, I think, for most people. So it's like a journey that people go on, I think.
Leads me to the question, do both of your customers know that there's a crisis going on at Origin?
Yeah, not probably more could. You know, we put them out in our newsletters and stuff. I mean, it's visible. There's every newspaper's talking about it here in the States. You know, it's on TV, so they're aware of it. To what degree, I don't know. And I also see a lot of roasters holding back on raising their prices, interestingly enough.
That's from a price perspective, right? Do they know that there's a supply problem?
How many people really read the paper versus Instagram and their TikTok? I mean,
Right.
you know,
I think, you know, in Norway, I can only speak for Norway, but in the newspaper, it's almost every week that says, oh, the coffee prices are going up. Oh, the coffee prices are going up. And then, you know, people are concerned that it's going to cost you $0.50 more per bag or something.
Right.
And every time I'm asked for an interview about this, which I very often am, I'm like, I always answer the same thing. It's about time that the prices go up, you know, because the farmers aren't paid enough and all these kind of things. So I think that's what concerns more people. People just assume that coffee is like an endless thing that you can just arrive, you know.
Right.
So there was a shortage after the war here where we drank roasted chicory, you know. So, yeah, it can happen again.
What were you going to say, George?
no, I keep thinking, I mean, in the States, you're just not going to have that many people doing V60s or, you know, other forms like that. I mean, there will be people like that who are really into it. But when you're trying to build a mail order business and so on and really expand and have an effect, you need to make it as simple as possible to get the best results, period. You know, like one of my kids has got 3 children. He's working, she's working, you know.
They don't have time.
They don't have time, right? And then they get themselves an automatic machine or something like that will brew it. And, you know, it's not brewing at the right temperature, typically. Most of the automatic machines brew coffee at too low a temperature and don't get the right extraction. So all of these are issues. And I'm not terribly thrilled with the Mocha Master that you Europeans love, right?
And Australians.
We were after them years ago because you have to stop the brewing process halfway through to let it
Agitate.
Agitate and whatever. I mean,
No.
oh please,
It works perfectly. I use an equivalent to a Mocha Master at home every day, and I love it. You know, it's so simple. You just have a good grinder, good beans, and it tastes great.
we have machines now here that I think do a much better job. But that's another matter. You and I need to get together.
Yeah, I can tell you one thing that in Norway most people use like a Mocha Master at their homes. And our shop alone, we sell, like last week, we sold 300 kilos of coffee just in 40 kilo bags. So that's our Frappuccino. We sell coffee beans, you know. We don't need to sell Frappuccino. That's how we make money in our coffee shop. So on average, we sell about a little bit more than a ton per month just in bags. So that's a pretty good business for us. And the only reason why we're able to do that is because we have relentlessly been pushing, you know, brew better coffee at home, you know, take the coffee at home. And not just us, but so many players in our market in Norway have been pushing, you know, it's easy to brew good coffee at home. You need to have a grinder. And before there were good grinders that were reasonably priced in the market, it was very few that actually bought coffee beans, and now we rarely grind coffee in our store.
That's
and,
true. We do.
people buy a lot of coffee beans just because it makes sense. They want to drink good coffee. It's much cheaper to brew it at home instead of going to a coffee shop every day. And I think the knowledge is there. I think the issue maybe in the US is that there are 320 plus something million people, and even though the market is big, if only 1% are really into the high quality stuff, but they're spread out in such a big country, then you're not feeling it so much if you're in a small city or a big city like Boston.
Well, when we were developing the the refractometer, which was developed, at George Howell Coffee, and came out, we had real trouble getting the right, perfect extraction with the Mocha Master. The fact that there's a single pour of water going straight into the coffee grounds as opposed to a fine rain that spreads evenly, doing it that way.
You need to
reduces
do some stirring.
that whole thing is ridiculous. You don't need to do that in a modern machine anymore, right? And so anything that will do that is a plus, right?
Yeah.
I love people making a Chemex. You can make great coffee. And
with a Chemex? No, that's not possible.
No.
I was waiting to see that reaction, Tim.
Chemex.
Oh yeah.
I am
Only if you put a V60 inside, then you can make a good Chemex.
Surprising.
You better believe that's going to be the clip that comes out.
Chemex can do it's surprising. I have yet to completely understand why, but it can do a great job for it. But again,
He's shaking his head for anyone who's just listening.
Well,
I need to take the flowers out of all my Chemexes and try it again,
You just don't have the technique down yet.
That's why we need the barista competition.
We need to show you.
And we're back at where we started the whole conversation.
Yeah.
Guys, this has been an absolute delight. I can't thank you enough. As always, our last question for this series. I'm going to start with you, George. When the future version of you comes back and watches this series, what do you hope for him?
You mean if I had more years to live, is what you're saying? What would how? Yeah. Well, knowing what I know now, I would certainly be... I'm trying to do that now. I mean, my talking to you about Guatemala and seeing those small farmers and so on, visiting them more, spending more time with them, getting a feel more, because I'm the outsider buying coffee. Everything I've done up until recently has been based on taste. I'm cupping coffee and how that affected me, right? The flavor. Period. That's why Cup of Excellence was born, was to share with other people the wowness of coffee. Right.
So you hope he's still enjoying the wow?
And sharing that with other people. When we were blind, when I was blind cupping, once I discovered cupping, right, which was many years into my business, I wanted to buy organic coffee. I almost never did because it didn't cup as well as less organic coffees. We hardly had any organic coffee. Very frustrating for me. But it didn't equal the flavor because it was all about the marketing of organic and not about producing the same quality. And organic farms didn't get the price that they needed to pay for it. So they didn't do the separations. They didn't do the quality.
Right.
Same thing. Fair trade, same way. Never bought fair trade. Not because I was against it, but because it just didn't taste very good, right? So today, that's what drove me up until now. Now it would be also maintaining the standards, but also working with coffees that, again, are going to bakeries and so on. A good, fair price, right? That that works, but understanding where they're coming from, what their difficulties are, and deepening my knowledge regarding that. Right.
Nice.
I would pursue that.
Tim, what about you? When the future version of you comes back and watches this, what do you hope for him?
I hope for him that that's a difficult question to answer. I hope I stayed true to my beliefs, at least. That sharing knowledge makes everyone win. Yeah, if I only did like a fraction of what George has done to our industry, I would be extremely happy. So I think
I think you have. I think you are.
no,
I think you underestimate
not-
yourself, George.
yeah, I think so too.
Not that you
But,
haven't done incredible things, Tim, but you're still going.
Yeah. You know, I still have some years though, hopefully. But no, I seriously believe that I never gave up. You know what I believe in, and of course I'm not successful in everything I do, but and you adjust your goals a little bit. But I hope I never give up. I wouldn't call it a fight, but give up
Struggle.
the mission to change coffee and how it's grown and how it's paid for and how, you know.
Yeah.
I really hope that I could look back and see that I made a small difference.
Hope the future version of all of the three of us are having a coffee somewhere very cool and continuing this conversation. That would be a real delight to be able to share a coffee with you guys at Chemex. Well, how about we get George to brew us the best Chemex of his life with the Mamuto?
And make a Frappuccino with the original recipe.
I think we should hold George to that. What do you think, George? Could you do that for us?
You name it. Yeah, well, it's interesting. What's that system called? Anyway, when Specialty Coffee Association, SCA, came to Boston, and we had the Mamuto ready for them. It had just arrived, and we were using a V60 and then a Kalita filter. We were not getting the flavor that I wanted. And literally 2 days before the whole crowd arrived, I got it right with the Chemex. I was surprised.
Was that in 2003?
That was 2017.
Okay. Because I'll tell you a little story.
Yeah.
I was in Boston in 2003 for the SCA.
Oh, 2003.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I had Copa Cafe at that time. So
Back then you had a cafe
Yeah.
and we had a dinner
the
there.
restaurant, yes, at last.
Wow.
And after that dinner, I had a cup of coffee. It's the first time I've ever been able to describe, wow, this coffee tastes like blackcurrant.
Wow.
It was a Kenyan coffee, probably.
The
Maybe it
Mamuto?
was Mamuto. I
It
don't know.
wasn't Mamuto. We did not know Mamuto back then. We discovered Mamuto in 2006. Right. And
Anyway, that was my
yeah.
first time that I could actually, because before that, you know, I worked in Norway and most of the coffees were quite old and woody. So
Yeah.
when people said this tastes like fruit, it really didn't taste like fruit. So this was like the first time where I could say, wow, the coffee tastes like fruit. And I'm like, this is the flavor I want in coffee.
Bingo.
And that was my inspiration for the
That's really great.
2004 blend that I used to win the world championship. It contained a lot of Kenyan coffee because of that cup.
Wow.
Did you know that, George?
Nope, I did not.
Wow.
Changed my life.
Wow.
Changed my life.
That's so nice to hear. Yeah, that was
Oh,
losing
guys, this
Copa
truly-
was a big loss.
I imagine.
Yeah.
I imagine.
I think it was a French press that you made there.
Yes.
From memory.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, it was incredible.
That's what I'm thinking that cafes need to make here, or restaurants need to do here. Get rid of their stupid espresso machines. They can't afford their
Yeah.
baristas, and do a French press. And that way you can order 4 people at the table, 4 different French presses, and they can all talk about the different coffees they're drinking.
Yeah. That's, well,
Right.
you know, if we could get all of them to figure that out, maybe we might have a shot at fixing things, right? What were you going to say,
I
Tim?
think you have to change the name to Freedom Press, so it makes it a little bit more popular, you know.
Yeah.
Freedom price.
Freedom Press. Yeah, I remember that thing they had
freedom
with the
fries.
French and the
Yeah.
Freedom Fries.
Yeah. George is a
Oh,
little bit
God.
thingy at the
What a
moment with it.
memory. Freedom fries, please.
Guys, as we
Yeah.
wrap up this series, please, George, where can people find out more about George Howell Coffee?
Well, either by coming to one of our cafes or on the internet, the website,
Okay.
I would say, right?
And we'll
And
have
we're
links
definitely
for that.
working on getting that website much more active. And I like what you're doing with the videos. I think that is a clear future to do those properly and really, bring it to people.
Thank you. Thank you.
The other thing is starting the seminars again. I got to tell you, to put people in front of 5 coffees, each one brewed. In your case, it would be 5 mocha masters, right? But it would be our 5 coffee
But that,
machines, automatic, right? And you brew 5 different coffees, chosen very carefully because of their diversity, right? A Brazil, a Kenya, a Central American, a Geisha, and so on, right? An Ethiopian, so that each coffee is different. And then you pour a glass worth, and for those 5, and you have people come with a spoon and a glass of their own, and they spoon it into the glass, and they drink from a glass that has now cooled the coffee down to a temperature where you can taste the difference. And they do 1 cup, taste it, then with the same glass, spoon to the next, they taste it, they go through the 5, and they go, oh my God, what a rainbow.
George, a lot of people have asked me how you did that. So for those people who always contact me and say, how did George Howell get everyone to start drinking coffee the way that they do at George Howell Coffee? He just explained it to you. Go and do it.
It's amazing. It's like drinking it like wine. It's very similar because now you're drinking out of your glass. It's cool. It's not cold, but it's coolish, right? 120 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know what that is. What would that be? 45 degrees Fahrenheit or something like that? Centigrade?
No idea.
Who knows
Yeah.
the strange scales you use?
Yeah.
It's an American thing.
Truly. I could go on, but anyway, that's letting people do it that way. It's hygienic, 1,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and 2, it's rapid, right?
Yep.
Have them taste aged coffee next to non-aged coffee. That's an inoculation.
Well, and given all of these like discos and dance parties that are happening at cafes instead
Right.
of nightclubs these days, maybe that might be something that you can have as a new way of bringing Gen Z into cafes as well. You never know.
Well, that's the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tim, how about you? Can you tell people where they can find out more about Tim Wendelboe Coffee and what you've got going on?
Wow.
There's so
I
much.
guess we're most active on Instagram. That's kind of where we update things.
Mm-hmm.
So at Tim Wendelboe, of course, we have a website and a web shop and a subscription and everything. YouTube, we post monthly videos there about our subscription, but also other movies about farms and not so much brewing stuff because there's so much brewing stuff around. And I have my own podcast, which is a little bit geeky maybe, but meant for coffee people who are above average interested in coffee.
Above average
And,
interested
where
in coffee. I love that.
Yeah, and I prefer to do like one-to-one interviews. So it's normally people I meet on my travels or employees or people that I have to deal with in coffee. So yeah. I
What's
guess
the
that's it.
podcast called? The Tim Wendelboe podcast?
Tim Wendelboe Coffee Podcast, I think.
Perfect. And we will include links for everything in the show notes, folks, so that you can check everything out. I do get the vibe that there's going to be a George Howell guest on your podcast to teach everybody how to brew the best Chemex ever. You got to make that happen.
I have to fly to Boston to just do that.
I would love to hear that podcast. I bet you George would love to do that. That would be such an incredible full circle moment, I think. Anyway, would you guys sign us off for this series, please? With our usual...
Peace, love, and peanut butter, isn't it?
And peanut butter.
George, George, do the whole thing.
And blackberries. And blackberries.
And have an amazing rest of your day, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
This episode is part of a 5-part series produced by Mapper Forward. Check the full playlist and guest details in the show notes, as well as how you can support our work in the coffee industry. Become a premium YouTube subscriber, explore our Patreon and any brands we've partnered with to bring you this podcast. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It really does help us grow our audience.